Hello, welcome back to my channel. Happy Vlogmas. Today is day 8 and the first of our December daily videos. I wanted to quickly just show my face and explain to you how these videos are going to work during Vlogmas. I don't know if I'll do an intro like this for every video, but wanted to go ahead and kick one off for this video. So last year during Vlogmas, I showed December daily as part of the vlogs, and I definitely didn't show every day. I just showed random days. I rarely showed progress videos. I just kind of would show when I was done, mostly because my desk setup back in New York was a little bit difficult, and so I didn't do a whole lot of December daily, but I had a lot of requests from you to share more and to share actual progress videos. So what I'm gonna do this year is I'm gonna film every day. I'm still planning to work on my December daily every single day, and then I'm gonna film it every day and compile them 5 days at a time. So this video will be a days 1 through 5. It's actually gonna be my first intro page, and then days 1 through 5 of December daily. And then there will be 4 more videos like this for the remainder of the month. So I'm really excited to get started today. I have all of my supplies set up. So I'm actually gonna kick this video off with showing you how I have my supplies organized. So this is gonna be a long video because it's got an extra day and it's got the supplies. Okay, so I have a couple binders here. This one is my Chrissy Ann Designs binder, which I don't like, it doesn't matter what the outside binder is, but this has all of my stickers. So these page protectors are from Amazon. I have the ones that are from this year's kits at the beginning. So anything that's brand new is at the beginning. All of this is all brand new. I got a lot of stickers. And then this is where it kicks off leftover stuff from prior years. I've only done it 1 year. This is only my 2nd year. But in the back, I have some stickers that are not December daily specific. They're just other Allie Edwards project stickers that I thought I might be able to use during December daily. And then this album is my empty album for 2020. Obviously there's nothing in there yet because we haven't done anything. But what I'll do is I will put the pages as we go into this album. And then this album is just a random extra album that I brought with me that has all of the page protector options that I have. So the ones that came with my December daily, as well as ones that I already owned, as well as anything else that was December daily that goes into the binder, like an embellishment that goes in the binder. So it's obviously very thick because I have to start moving stuff out from this into my other one. So I've got the large die cuts, that was a set. I have these pocket folders. I think that these were part of the main kit, maybe? I don't think I would have ordered those on their own. These are actually from last year, these 3x8 transparencies. I have one 6x8 transparency. I have these pockets. One of these is left over from last year, and then 3 are from this year. And then it just goes by size. So I have all of the 3x8 ones with these little cards. And then I have these 3x8 side by side. And then I put in some of the cards that I thought I might want to use. These are actually all from last year. Then I have these big transparencies. These are just inside page protectors so I don't lose them. All of my 6x8 papers that I might want to use. I'm really excited about these. Then these are the 4x6s that are from the kit that I might want to use. And I'm not planning to use them like this. I didn't pair them up like this. This is just how I'm storing them so I can reference them while I am actually doing my day. Then I sorted all the numbers. So I got this idea from somebody in the Facebook group. So I have these 2 4x6 for 1 through 10 because I had these big felt numbers that I ordered, and I have these big silver numbers that I got as part of Week in the Life. So I have 1 through 10 that look like that. Then the rest of the numbers I have in these 3x4 pockets. So I have, 11, and I have a couple different options. I have these silver ones that were sent to me by a member of my community. I have the black ones that came with the kit. And then for some of these, I have the leftover ones from last year if I didn't use last year's. So these are all of my numbers. And then 25, I have that extra 25th. Oh, these are some other embellishments, these little circles. And then these are these wood tags. And then I did the same thing with the 3x4 papers. I have all the ones that I might want to use just so that I can look at them. It's almost like storage, but then it's also, these are the page protectors that I will use. And then the rest of my embellishments are in this thing, which I set up and organized when we were still in New York, and I shared that in a vlog, but I have obviously added all of my 2020 December daily stuff that I got shipped here to my mom. So this top one has, I'm gonna take out this tape actually. So we've got some extra numbers here. It's mostly just the days 26 through 31 because I don't do those days. And then all of the sticker numbers, which if I need them, I have them. This is what the star kit came in, and I want to find a way to use this because it's just so pretty, but I don't know if I'm going to. Then I've got some other little sticky things here, the tabs. These are from Week in the Life. I don't know, I just threw those in there. And then all the rest of my paper products, like the cards, are all in here. I pulled out all the ones that I'm thinking I want to use this year. I have this just in case I want something specific that I can't find that's in this binder, but I don't know if I'm really going to need to go in there. And then this has all of the other supplies. The bottom one, it's got my tiny attacher and all of my adhesive rollers. I'm going to definitely need that. This one has some random embellishments. Some of these are new and some of them are from last year. Like these little star ones are new. These are so cute. And just some other miscellaneous things. And then the smaller embellishments are in this one. So all I did, since you saw it last, I combined some of the things. Like these hearts used to be separated and I combined those to make space for these hearts. These little arrows were separated from those location markers. I combined those to make space for those stars, some things like that. And so now I can see everything. I wanted the new stuff to be a lot more like exemplified, I guess, so that I would be able to see it better. So these are all of my little small attachments. So now I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I went ahead and pulled out a couple things that I know that I wanna use. The actual process video part is going to be voiceover style. That is just going to be the best way for me to get these filmed and edited in a timely fashion while working a 9-to-5 job and getting them up for you. Voiceover is gonna be the best way. So let's get going. Also, while I do this, I'm going to be watching the prep day videos. I only got through a few of them as part of my November goals because I didn't make time for it. And so I'm gonna be watching the prep day videos while I do that. I figured I didn't watch them. I figured it's not that big of a deal if it takes me a few days or even a week to get through them. It's still gonna be beneficial. So that's what I'm gonna be watching while I work on this. I wanted to start off with this December cutout page. I got the add-on with the big cutouts and I knew this is how I wanted to kick my album off. So I started out by trying to find some embellishments for this page just to give it a little bit more pop. And I discovered pretty quickly I wanted to put something in the spaces on those 3 letters where there should have been a cutout. So I put these little white stars and then I felt like they were a little bit alone. So I tried to find some other stars. Turns out those gold sticker stars went bad. So note to self, use your supplies because they do go bad. So I ended up pulling out my sticker book, again, trying to find some more supplies. And I found these stars that are a little bit more perfect and it just felt cleaner to have the perfect stars as opposed to the imperfect stars. And then I still wanted to add a little bit of something. It still felt too bare to me. So I kept digging, couldn't find anything, decided to just go ahead and stick down the stars and then I would figure it out afterwards. I am using a red line tape here to stick down the magic, the little gold acrylic word. I love that little gold acrylic word. The other one in this kit is believe, and I'm tempted to use believe as my word of the year. It's one of my options. So I don't know that I'm going to use it in December daily until I decide whether or not it's going to be my word of the year so that I could use it later. Now sticking the picture to the full page with an adhesive roller. I learned last year that even though everything goes into the page protectors, having it stuck back to back is really helpful to keep things from sliding around. So now I'm trying to find what embellishments I want to put on this first picture. I really love how this first picture turned out. I last year did a picture just of my tree as my initial page, like this 6x8 of my tree. Well, I wanted to do the same thing. I wanted to kind of have that be the theme and do that for the rest of my December daily, however long I do December daily. But it was really hard to find a way to take a picture of my mom's Christmas tree and have it be centered without getting the TV in the picture. So that's how I ended up with this like cool picture that also includes the kitchen table and some of the other twinkly lights and then also the view. So it actually turned out really cool. So now I'm trying to find some embellishments on the back. I know I'm going to write on most of this page, but I want to have some other sentiments as well as take up a little bit of the space before it's time for me to actually write. One of the things that I always try to do, which I learned from Allie Edwards, it's a little bit cut off, oh, there we go, is to have things interact with the edge. So have things go off the edge a little bit and then cut them off. So adding another little embellishment star here, I felt like this page needed a little bit of something else. And then it's time to get to writing. I decided this year that I'm using this gel pen. I can't remember, I got this recently in a package or something. I'm not usually a gel pen person, but I used the Papermate Flare last year and it felt way too thick. Like I just didn't like the way that it ended up looking. And I don't know, the gel pen, I just felt like it would write nice and smoothly. You do have to be a little bit careful. You'll see later in this video with the gel pen that sometimes it smears very easily if you don't give it a second to dry. But here I'm just writing out the reason why I do December daily, and more importantly, how this December is going to look so different from other Decembers, and how I'm excited to document it and to just have these memories because this time looks so different. But isn't that always true? Like time always looks different. I think we keep saying that about 2020, but in reality, every year does look different. And to have it documented is just really important to me. I don't know if I actually write it here, but something I discover very quickly, besides the fact that my hand hurts, is that I really wanted to focus on keeping things simple this year so that I get it done. I do love watching all of the videos where people are doing these amazing, elaborate, crafty December daily, and they're beautiful, but if I did that every day, I wouldn't get it done. And so I knew that I wanted to keep things a little bit simple this year. So I'm going ahead and adding some additional stars. I didn't quite take up all of the space, so I just wanted to fill in some of that extra space. So I'm adding another one of these corkboard stars and then a little gold star. It's a little bit cut off there at the bottom, I apologize. But I'm adding a gold sparkly star and then another corkboard star just to take up that space at the bottom. I know that stars are a pretty common thing in the December daily products, and then it ends up being in mine too. So now I'm kind of seeing where the December overlaps with the photo so that when I'm adding things to the actual photo, it kind of maybe peeks through a little bit. So the first thing I need to add is just 2020 because that we need to mark that it's the year. And I tried to use these big silver ones, but they just didn't look right. So I ended up using these little tiny white sticker 2020s on the back of that chair. By the way, my mom's blue chairs, if you've watched any of the vlogs at this point, are not that color. They're way more of like a navy blue, but for whatever reason, CVS is printing out pictures with this pop, and it turned out really beautiful for this picture. I've since switched to getting pictures printed at Walgreens because the colors are just much more true, and I don't know, the as beautiful as blue chairs look, I just decided to not get printed at CVS anymore. But CVS does print out in the 6x8 size, which I really, really like. So now I'm kind of noticing that the 20 peaks out, which I kind of like. And that's a wrap for day one. So now we are moving on to day two. I'd already put the cards in there. I kind of pulled them out while I was doing my first day, well, day one. That was actually the reason why. And this is technically day one, although you will see that I messed that up. So I wanted to tell the story of the walks that my mom and I take pretty much every day during lunch. My mom and I go for a walk unless something pops up. And so I took 2 pictures that day. One was of my mom looking at these Christmas decorations. This one house had put these Christmas trees in their yard. They had 10 Christmas trees in their bushes and just decorated beautifully. I love the way that it turned out. And then another picture of the squirrel. So sometimes my stepdad joins us for the walks, and he has sort of adopted this little squirrel. Now, clearly the squirrel was adopted by the people who own that tree because there's a little house there, but my stepdad has become obsessed with the squirrel, so I decided to include the squirrel in my story as well. So I'm adding a little heart into the here's the story box there, and then I wanted to carry the heart sentiment throughout the rest of it. So I wanted to add a little green heart on the number 2, and then you can't see it, but I'm adding a little heart embellishment chipboard onto the photo with my mom. So the theme here is just kind of a bunch of different hearts. And so I'm sticking everything down, again, using red line tape, and then I'm using one of those rectangle like pleather pieces on that patterned paper as my other accent. I don't know, this one has all the green. I felt like the picture had green, so all the other embellishments should also have green, and so I just used a bunch of green or neutral embellishments to kind of accent the green that is the nature. But this is an example of the story is not very fancy, I guess. It's a very simple story, the fact that my mom and I take walks every day, but it's an important part of the story for this year, and so I wanted to document it. Now,
I didn't talk about the fact that I put down a number 2, and this is technically day 1. I think I had in my mind the fact that I did the reason why page was day 1, and so I used the 2 here. You'll see that I end up just fixing it because we go on walks every day. It does not matter that it's not the exact right day. You'll see a lot of people do stories of December daily from earlier in November or just on different days. So I end up moving this to day 2, and the next one will be me finishing up day 1. So just writing in the story here of the walk and the squirrel, and then sticking everything back into the page protectors. I can't remember if I figured out at this point that it should be day 1 and not day 2. I don't remember when I figured that out, but here we are moving on to day 2/day 1. And I decided to tell the story of the advent calendars. So this year I got 5 advent calendars. So I found this little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 card that I'm pretty sure was part of last year's December daily. And so I just wanted to list out the advent calendars that I had for this year. And because the pictures are so involved, and I ended up pulling out this quote card as the top right corner, I didn't really have space to add on the number 1 to mark it as day 1. So I decided to pull in this 3x8 striped vellum and use a big number 1 on the top there. I was deciding between this felt number 1 and then the plastic piece number 1 that is actually from Week in the Life. I ended up going with the felt one, and then I'm going to add those little stars on top. And now I'm seeing what other embellishments I want to add to the pictures themselves. I have a bunch of little embellishments from a food kit that I ordered from Allie Edwards once, so I kind of used that to put on these pages because it's a wine and cheese advent calendar. So I use this little wine wooden piece that's a little bit cut off, and I end up putting this little heart on the wine glass itself to make it a little bit fancy, I guess. So here I want to write advent calendars on that little wooden piece, and I end up messing it up because it bleeds really easily. Even with the Sharpie, it doesn't really work. So I decide to pull in the sticker. I write advent calendars, and at some point I end up messing this up too. I think I smear it. See, gotta let the pen dry. So then luckily I have a whole nother set of that set of stickers. So then I grab the Sharpie and write advent calendars on that. I don't love writing with the Sharpie because on a lot of things, it's not black. Like it's a kind of a gray is what it ends up looking like on these pages or on this sticker. And I don't really love it, but it is what it is. Again, I'm really trying to embrace like it's not perfect and it's just done. Done is better than perfect for this because it's every single day. And if I tried to do an elaborate memory keeping project every single day and make it perfect, I wouldn't also have time to work a full-time job and spend time with my family and all the things that I do. So now I'm listing out the advent calendars that I have this year and adding some little notes, just where they're from, that it's my 3rd year with David's Tea, the Aldi wine and cheese. And then I felt like it needed a little bit of something, kind of had a little bit of extra white space there. So I go poking around for an embellishment, but at the end of the day, I don't find anything. So I end up just sticking it in the page protector. And at some point in this process, it ends up getting smeared. It's kind of hard to tell with the lighting, but the words are a little bit smeared, but I don't have another one of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. So I decided to just let it go. So I'm adhering everything to the back of yesterday's and then kind of flipping them around so that yesterday's is actually day 2 and this one is actually a day 1. And then I go ahead and put it in my album. I like storing everything in my album as we go through. I also realized I didn't take the clear like peel off piece off of the vellum 3x8. So I end up doing that and resticking the number 1. All right, moving on to day 3. So day 3 story, again, was one of these simple ones, but I loved it. And I played around with the self timer on my phone here. So my brother ended up coming over that day because he had the day off. And so he came over to hang out and then have dinner. And we were sitting around the dinner table. It was the 5 of us. So my mom, my stepdad, Sam, and I, and my brother. And we had a really in-depth conversation about some important topics. And I just wanted to write about that. It felt very important to document. And so I started taking pictures of the table, like from my seat, right? I took pictures of like the plates and I tried to get a little bit of everybody, but not their faces. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to try the whole self-timer thing. And so I went and set my camera up over on the island and everybody was like, what are you doing? And I was like, don't worry about it. Just just don't pay attention. So I set my phone up on the counter and just put it in selfie mode so I could figure out how to make us centered. And I turned on the self timer for 10 seconds, and then I ran and sat back down in my seat, and it took this picture, and it turned out great. And I loved it. So anyways, I really am glad that I am playing around with different ways to take photos, and especially having me be in the photos. That is just something that I feel like I struggle with, is I'm always the one taking the photos, and it takes an effort to ask somebody else to take it or to set the self timer, but I really love the way that it turns out. So now that I've picked out the cards that I'm going to use, I'm trying to nail down some embellishments. I want to put something there. I decided to end up switching the cards. I cut this 3x8 into 2 pieces. That's how I got that striped card. And now I want to add something kind of to the top there. I really love the sentiment. I love I like how the dark card, the black card with the green writing, goes with the photo. So I'm still trying to figure out what embellishments I want to put on this little journaling card. And what I end up doing is something similar to what I did for my one little word. And that's sort of a montage of different hearts. So I liked this green heart because I felt like the green kind of pulled in everything else. And so then I went digging for other hearts to kind of make this heart collage. Again, I did something very similar for my one little word, since my word of the year was love. And I just really like the way that this turned out. And so I finally figure out what I'm going to do and then get it all stuck down. The other thing you might notice here is that green stripe on my photo. So I got this photo printed at CVS. I also got a photo for my mom printed for something, for a gift that she got at CVS, and they both had this green stripe. And I asked CVS to reprint them because I showed on my phone. I was like, see, the photo doesn't have the green stripe. And the woman who was working there, she was like, there's nothing I can do, and it must be in your photo. And I just was not in the mood to really fight her. And photos are 35 cents a photo. So I was arguing with her for 70 cents. And I was like, fine, I'll just go get them printed at Walgreens. So as of the time that I'm working on this project, I haven't picked up my new photo yet. So I won't actually adhere that 3 and the other embellishment on that photo because I'm waiting for my photo that doesn't have the green stripe. So once I stick everything in and put it in the album, I also realized that I did kind of a heart theme across the 2 pages, and I really loved how that turned out. Moving on to day 4. So as you saw, I went ahead and picked out the cards the first day. I feel like if I know what the story is going to be by the time I'm working on the previous day, if I see cards that pop out at me while I'm working on it, I will go ahead and pull those out. So I added the embellishments to that photo. The day 4 story is about dyeing my hair. So I tell the story on the vlog, but I have been using the same hair dye since I was in high school. And so my mom dyed my hair on the 4th, and I decided to go ahead and document that. So I took this picture of just my hair dye box. I wasn't going to take a picture of me with the hair dye. Plus, and it allowed me to get the photo printed earlier. I got it printed with the non-green stripe photo, and so I was ready to go. So I'm trying to figure out where to put the 4 here. I just didn't really like the way any of the numbers looked, so I ended up writing out the word 4. I don't know if I love this either, kind of on the edge of the shelf here with these white letters, but it's fine. So then I am trying to find some other embellishments to add to this page. There isn't a whole lot of extra space, like trying to put something on that white card that looks kind of nice but not too overwhelming, and the photo already has a lot going on, and then that circle page that I'm going to journal in also has a lot going on. So I end up going with these clear piece trees, which I'm sure there was a plastic layer I didn't peel off there, but oh well. And I staple those onto the white page. Then I end up doing some quick journaling in this little red card. I did use the red one. There's all 3 colors of this card, and I thought the red goes because I dye my hair red. So I filled that in, and then I ended up using a star to fill in that extra space. And then it felt like it just needed a second star. I don't know what it is. I feel like doing one embellishment, and I did 2 trees. So there we go. I consistently used 2 trees and then 2 stars. It just feels like when you put one thing, it always feels kind of like alone. And I feel like you need like 2 or 3 embellishments to kind of have it go together. So that is the end of the day 4 story. And now I'm going to go back and add something to day 1. So I don't remember what day it was, I ended up pulling stickers out of my friend's advent calendar. And so I wanted to incorporate those somehow into my story. But since I'd already finished the story, I had to get a little creative. So what I decided to do, I had another 1 because there was a 10 that was part of that kit. So I traced it on some patterned paper, and I'm going to put this patterned paper on the back side of my 1. So you won't be able to see it when you're looking at it on the, you know, the front side of the layout. But then when you turn the little vellum piece, you're going to be able to see the stickers. So I like that I was able to include them because they're part of the memory, but they're not front and center because let's be honest. So that is going to be it for this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here,